you can't see value here today, you're not up here shopping, you're up here shoplifting.
Bacon.
Did you say £10? That's a bargain, I'll take one.
Eddie.
You two, join me in my office.
Fat man.
Oi!
Soap. 4 friends.
That's my 25 grand.
With a money-making scheme
You sure you can afford 25? I can afford it as long as I see it again.
that's quick,
You playing cards tonight, son? With Harry?
easy,
Oh, don't be silly, Dad.
and very expensive.
I'll see you. For $500,000? All right, don't panic. Oh, yeah.
Then your father will.
Hello and welcome to this What Do You Want to Watch Spoilercast for Guy Ritchie's directorial debut, Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. I'm your host, Ashley Hobley. Joining me today, Dylan Blight.
Hello, Governor.
Alright, so we're talking about this film as Guy Ritchie's latest movie, Operation Fortune, starring Jason Statham, is about to release in cinemas in the next couple of weeks. So I thought, why not go back in time and watch Guy Ritchie's first film? Admittedly, it was a toss a coin which one of these movies we'd be watching, but yeah. Please be aware we'll be freely discussing anything and everything about the plot themes in any of this movie. So if you haven't watched it, come back later. It is currently streaming in Australia on Stan. With that said, let's jump to our discussion of Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. Directed by Guy Ritchie, written by Guy Ritchie, starring Jason Flemyng, Dexter Fletcher, Nick Moran, Jason Statham, Stephen Mackintosh, Vinnie Jones, and Sting. Eddie convinces 3 friends to pool funds for a high-stakes poker game against local crime boss, Hatchet Harry. Harry cheats and Eddie loses, giving him a week to pay back £500,000 or hand over his father's pub. Desperate, Eddie and his friends wait for their neighbours to rob some drug dealers, then rob the robbers in turn. After both thefts, the number of interested criminal parties increases, with the 4 friends in dangerously over their heads. Dylan, you've obviously watched this movie before.
I've watched this movie a few times.
Yes.
So,
what do you think about Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels?
Love it. Fantastic. I was obsessed, between this and Snatch, and then, I guess it was this and Snatch. I love these 2 movies. And then when Rock and Roller came out, and I was just in high school or whatever, and I guess I'd only just in the maybe year or 2 prior caught up on Lock, Stock and Snatch, but I convinced my dad to take me down to Hobart so I could watch Rock and Roller on a better cinema because I was so excited for Guy Ritchie's next film. So I loved these. And it's totally a tonal thing. It's just I'd never seen something like this before. I'd never seen a film edited like this. I maybe it's also just the British thing. I'd never heard characters speak like this. It was so different to American crime films, I guess. And it's also just it's that Guy Ritchie thing of these are serious movies where, what's happening is serious, but they're also just funny, it's not quite, Lethal Weapon, comedy action. It's just a different genre of comedy crime, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's, something like that, but he has just the way Guy Ritchie writes the characters' dialogue and the way characters talk to each other back and forth, and just the way it's always, of course, edited and stuff like that. This is the beginnings of, and when you watch things years later, you still see his influence and stuff like Sherlock. Although if you listen to this or know me long enough, it's I don't like his Sherlock films. I just don't think his tone worked for that character. I actually really don't like either of those films. However, I was a big fan of King Arthur, and you can obviously see his influence a bit more if you're watching some of that stuff, especially when the opening of that movie where he explains how, he's talk to this person, and just the way it's all cut together. There's a Guy Ritchie style. I could sit down, watch a movie, know who it's by, and I could probably pick a Guy Ritchie directed scene, as much as I could pick a Quentin Tarantino scene, something like that. So, when I was in high school and I was starting to become obsessed a bit more with movies and, learning, directors' names and writers, becoming at that stage, it's Guy Ritchie, Quentin Tarantino, Kevin Smith. These are all these are some of I'd say Guy Ritchie was up there as sort of one of the directors I was so much I love this guy's work. It's so good. And, this was the first of his films I watched, so special place in my heart for it, especially since it's also Jason Statham's first film. And although he hasn't gone on to bigger and better things, really, but also Vinnie Jones, his first one, I believe, as well. But definitely Jason Statham. So, I really, really like it. But also, I have like sort of a soft spot for this.
So this is the first time I've watched this movie.
That doesn't surprise me.
Well, it should be a running thing. There's very few of these films that we do for these spoilercasts that I have watched before. Yeah, I liked it. I think it did take me a while to get into it. Like there is a lot of setting up all the different factions or groups or parties involved in the crimes and kind of like building that up. But when it comes together, it comes together beautifully, and it's like really fun how like I don't know, like it's all kind of connected, and like everybody's kind of doesn't realize that they're stealing from each other pretty much. I think it's a good script. I think it's put the story and all the intertwining elements are put together perfectly. I thought that was really enjoyable. Interesting, like some of the editing is a bit dated, I feel like. Some of the like song choices a bit, like how they're utilized is a bit weird and that kind of stuff. Like that popped into my mind. But overall, I don't know. I feel like they just cut suddenly. There's no like fade or like
Yeah, he does hard cuts, but I think that's also just he does that a lot in his films. Like the songs playing, you have like a very loud song and then like hard cuts to someone being like, "Fuck that guy!" Like it's sort of done for like
that's true
comedic effect to a degree.
Yeah. And it's interesting seeing, obviously, this Jason, like you said, Jason Statham's first movie. But, he's very Jason Statham. Well, except he's not actually kicking everybody else. That's the only thing that's not Jason Statham-like.
Yeah, I mean, that's always been the thing. Like, Jason Statham's now known as this big action star, but considering this was the first thing I watched him in, and then, like, even in Snatch, he's pretty much playing the exact same character, but it's just not the exact same character. Like, Jason Statham to me was always just a cool British dude, and then when he became an action star, I was like, where'd that come from? And then you learn he did, like, black belt and all this sort of shit. And I didn't know anything about his history as a diver and all this sort of stuff. So I was like, oh, that guy who just seemed like a, British dude was an action star, right? Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, Vinnie Jones is actually really good. This is probably the best thing I've seen him in.
It is the best thing he's done. Like, it is the best thing.
I mean, yeah, he kind of blew up out of this and kind of peaked at, like, appearing as Juggernaut. I think that was his highest point in Hollywood.
He's front and center on the poster and the DVD box art and everything. Like he's the front character you see. So.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think lots of just the way it's all interconnected. I found really amusing and like how coincident like the two bumbling thieves are quite amusing through the entire thing and how they weave their way into the story. Yeah. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I mean that's what he does throughout a lot of these because you've only seen Guy Ritchie stuff from like Sherlock onwards. I've seen Man from U.N.C.L.E., Sherlock's. Yeah. I watched King Arthur. Watched Aladdin. Yeah, so like all the stuff I'm talking about, you haven't seen.
Yeah,
but like this whole like interconnecting stories was sort of his thing that I sort of wish he would come back to almost to a degree, because and not even you can do, and I guess he did in The Gentleman. That was the thing. Like that's what The Gentleman was the most Guy Ritchie film that he'd done in a while. Although I don't think it's as good as the first three main like this he did. By that I mean this, Snatch, and then Rock and Roller. He did some other stuff in between, including that weird Madonna thing. I know he does this other movie. He does this other movie called Revolver with Jason Statham, which is a very serious, weird movie that got terribly reviewed, but I quite enjoyed it for what it was. It's just hard to get your head around. It's very confusing. but otherwise, like the main three, Snatch and Rock'n'Roller, they're all the same. Where it's just like a bunch of random, different sorts of characters, and the whole thing of watching those movies is getting to see how the puzzle pieces sort of
Work together,
intertwine and characters, like what happens by the end and sort of stuff. It's you really appreciate, like, even if you don't love it to even the Gentleman's the same. It's like there's something magic about watching all these pieces, chess pieces, move around, and then how they come together by the end of the movie, and if it's a payoff, if the payoff works for you or not. And I definitely feel like Snatch is, Lock, Stock is better than Snatch in its ending. Like, I think Snatch is a better made film because people always sort of argue over which is better, and that's because he had a bit more money and all this sort of thing, and has the Brad Pitt role and whatever else everyone loves about it. I think Lock, Stock is the better script though, and especially with the way it ends and pays off. I think the ending, it's so perfect for this film where everyone's like bumbling over cash and money and everything else. And I love how Vinnie Jones's character comes in. He's like, now I've taken what I thought I was owed. I've left in there all this. And they think they've fucked him over for that gun book to be in there. And I love the way you never know what's going to happen. It just like freeze frames of him leaning over. Like, will he grab it? Will he not? It's like, you don't need to know. But it's a good payoff to the whole movie about everyone's chasing money and then they're chasing the guns. The other people chasing the guns.
Yeah, these
Vinnie
guns
Jones
move under everybody's
money,
noses the entire time.
Yeah, even though they're worth so much money. Yeah, it's great. It's a great finish. I think it's one of the all-time finishes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's interesting. It's interesting with Guy Ritchie and probably also Matthew Vaughn's careers. Like, they always manage to find like a future star in their movies. Like, obviously you got Jason Statham. You've got like Taron Egerton in Matthew Vaughn's like Kingsman movies. Like, even
you could say Matthew Vaughn found Guy Ritchie because Matthew Vaughn was.
That's true. I think one of Daniel Craig's first movies was Layer Cake. I mean, Charlie Cox showed up in Stardust. And then, he gave a bunch of people big roles in X-Men First Class. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting, like, casting-wise, how they managed to find certain people. But yeah, Jason Statham, obviously great. I think it's kind of interesting, like, watching a movie like this and then see where everybody's careers have kind of gone from here. Like, Dexter Fletcher, who plays Soap, like, has gone on to become a director of his own. Most recently doing Rocketman, I believe. So,
it's funny because like he met Matthew Vaughn doing this, and then he gets I think he gets Eddie the Eagle and Rocketman, and who's he working with? Taron Egerton. Who's Taron Egerton come from? Matthew Vaughn. Yeah. Yeah,
it's just funny how all the all this kind of connects and everything. Yeah. Anything else you want to discuss about Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels?
Not in particular. I don't think so. I just think it's interesting. So I was going to say with the whole thing, Guy Ritchie, Jason Statham thing. It's like, so Guy Ritchie did this, 1998. He did Snatch, 2000. Jason Statham still. 2005, Revolver, Jason Statham. And then he dropped off. So that was the last time.
He wasn't in Rock and Roll,
You see? 2005, was not in Rock and Roller, was not in King Arthur, Aladdin, Sherlock Holmes, all these other things. And then it's only 2021. That's why I was sort of excited about that movie that's coming up, because that's the thing you don't get. It's like, oh, he's finally returning Jason Statham. They're getting back together. It's like the band was getting back together. And now they've done
two now.
Wrath of Man. He's doing another one, Operation Fortune, which is, of course, the one we're about to watch after this is coming out.
Do you like Wrath of Man? I couldn't remember.
I did. I liked it. I didn't love it, but I liked it. It's also just not like Wrath of Man sits in that Revolver category of Guy Ritchie doing a serious movie. Like it's not at all a action comedy. It's a full on serious thriller. So, but that's the thing. I feel like Guy Ritchie's almost got to that. Not almost. He is at that stage where, especially if you watched all these early films, you think of him in a certain way, and people go, "He's a comedy action." Crime film dude. He does like British crime action stuff. And that's what he sort of became known for. Sherlock Holmes, comedy action stuff. King Arthur, comedy action stuff. And then every now and then when he tries to do something that's off character, off for him as a director, people go into it expecting a certain thing. And I think some people did go into Wrath of Man going, Jason Statham, back with Guy Ritchie, this will be funny. And then it's not at all. In fact, it's very dark, very serious. And if you go in expecting that, you'll get so disappointed. But obviously, Operation, whatever the stupid name of the movie is that we're about to watch, Fortune something or other, that's a comedy action thing that you'd sort of more expect from Guy Ritchie.
Absolutely. Also, I did love, I think it's Rory, the black drug lord or whatever. I love his story. It's revealed, like, they meet him at the Samoan pub, and then they explained what he did before they walked in. Of him setting a dude on fire.
Yeah.
That was great. Yeah, really enjoyable. Set up a bit of a joke.
It's badass.
Yeah. And then, what's his face? Just dropping stuff in his office constantly. Like, I think he breaks the table, like Rory's table.
Oh,
and then
yeah,
he drops it.
Side trivia, that's an accident. That wasn't actually planned.
The first time, yeah.
I assume the second time it's a bit, but the first time it was a complete accident. That's left that. So his reaction of "oh shit" is because he just legit broke the table, broke this glass table, and didn't mean to. But of course, it's a funny bit that made for the film. That I presume they then made a joke for the second part. But the first time, the reason he like looks up and is like "yes" is because it wasn't supposed to happen. I love those sorts of things in movies though, where you're like, oh,
happy accidents.
Made for a good bit.
Yeah. All right. Let us know what you thought of Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels by going to explosionhour.com/Twitter or jump into Discord at explosionhour.com/Discord. Did you ever watch Lock, Stock? There was apparently a TV series.
The TV show?
Yeah.
No, apparently it was terrible. I never bothered. So. Yeah. But the weirdest thing is he's tried to do this a couple times, and they're doing a Gentleman TV series now. I think he's involved in that. So
yes. See if that happens. If you want to help us out here, or what do you want to watch, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser, or leave us 5 stars anywhere you can leave 5 stars, or just tell people about the show. And if you like this episode, thought it was worth $1, head on over to our Ko-fi page at explosion.com/support. Thank you very much for listening, and until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.
Right, where was we?
Guns for show. Nice for a pro. God knows how much of this stinking weed.
Is this a declaration of war?
A shitload of cash.
One's responsible for this torture.
And a traffic order. I hate traffic orders.